On the Horror Channel, we love blood and gore more than most, but sometimes you just need some good suspense driven by dark, complex characters. So we caught up with the directors of some of this year's must-see thrillers to delve a little further into what makes for good thrills and kills.
What makes a good thriller? Characters. Strong characters, interesting characters, I think.
I'm always really interested in character more than anything else.
You could obviously say tension and executing all those sort of elements in thrillers, but to me, it comes back to having a character that you want to follow through a journey.
It's kind of the furthest away from genre. It could still technically be drama if it needed to.
If not scares, building towards something that's going to disturb you.
Do you think the horror and thriller genres are getting a bit more increasingly blurred? Perhaps people are getting desensitized and they expect more from their thrillers?
You know, they can't just be one note, otherwise the audience knows what to expect. They're very savvy these days. They know all the beats, how they play out. They've seen thousands of these types of films, so you need to constantly surprise them. And by mixing genres, that's a way to do it.
Just so you know, if you want to impress me, I like fight stories.
And what about the big twist? A good thriller usually has, or tries to have, a good twist. How important is that?
It's a question of planting the seeds, right? It's you do something almost borderline cliched that the audience will have a preconception kind of going into it.
And so we wanted it to have multiple layers to the idea of the narrative spins and turns that happen, but don't rely completely on one sort of moment for the audience to have an aha and feel like, oh, I've had the rug pulled out of me. You wanted it to, you can pull the rug, but then when they just get their balance again, that's when you want to do another one.
And would you say most thrillers have a death or a kill or a murder at some point?
For me, anyway, personally, I have a very strict view on violence in movies. I don't like seeing PG violence. I think that does a disservice to audience members. It makes them think it's easy to do these acts. So when I go into the violence in my movies, I want to make sure it's really horrific and jarring.
There's nothing glamorous about it. And so it's also more intense when you're just hearing the sound of bone being sawed through.
Tell me where he is.
Everyone's always asks me for Harpoon, oh, why do you hate people? Are you very cynical? And it's no, I'm actually very compassionate to bad guys, and I want to know what made them bad.
I think people are fascinated by psychopaths because in some way, we're all drawn to the idea of throwing away morality.
What are you going to do when they find out who you really are?
There's something cathartic to watching that on a screen.